Why are we not in an official recession? I think a lot of people are asking that question. And of course, that's because a lot of us feel day to day like we actually are in a recession. And that is how it feels when we go to the store or when we try to find a job. But according to Deutsche Bank, in a letter that they sent to their clients, one of the reasons we're not actually in a recession is because companies are spending so much money on building AI systems, and AI facilities that it is essentially propping up the economy. Yes, that is what I said, and actually more specifically, that is what Deutsche Bank said. Deutsche Bank, in a letter to its investors, said specifically, AI machines are literally saving the U.S. economy right now. But this kind of growth cannot be sustained unless spending remains on an ever growing course. And NVIDIA, the major supplier of AI accelerators and data centers, could bear much of the residual growth. But the bad news is that in order for the tech cycle to continue, capital investment needs to remain parabolic. And then he says, this is highly unlikely. So, in other words, building these massive and very expensive data centers, the things like the GPUs, the hardware requirements, all of which are very, very expensive. Zuckerberg, obviously famously recently in the White House, said they were going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars doing this. The core argument from Deutsche Bank, if you're wondering, why are we not having a recession? Their answer is, well, essentially, it's this one segment, AI, that is having so much spending that is perhaps one of, if not the reason that we're not officially in a recession. And as they rightly pointed out, that kind of capital expenditure is simply not sustainable. So where does that go from here? And at how much risk does that put us every single day? Well, I would argue that most of us don't feel the benefits of that spending, unless, of course, you're fortunate to work in building those facilities, or maybe you're involved in the real estate of those facilities. You're probably feeling a lot more of that than most of us. But I think the average everyday American feels more like we're actively in a recession, or at least that times are very, very economically difficult. But if you're worried about that, it seems a little bit more ominous to me that maybe the only reason it's not much worse is because of the capital spending on the facilities of AI. It's something we should be paying attention to. It doesn't seem like AI itself is generating the kind of revenue that's going to save the economy. And building these facilities forever, well, that's simply not feasible.